Welcome to the week 7 video. The week 7 module, slope stakes and reference points. To get this thing kicked off, this is a lot of information. Well, it's just detailed information. I would think that it would be good for you to go back to before you get starting. Go look at this video. If you can see my arrow, it says single line reference stakes versus double line reference stakes. It's a video. It's a little bit lengthy, but it sure does clarify the difference in working with single line stakes and versus double line. So enough of that. That's where I would start. There's also this video that I'm making that's going to go here that I'm working on right now. But this is something you do before you do this, or just pause this video, come back to it. But I would sure go through this first. It's up to you. So when we get into, like I say, my video I'm doing now is going to go down, and it's going to be about the instructional material, which is, well, I just messed up. I want to do something else first. Where did all the stuff go? Here it is. Okay, one thing first. Totally forgot. Let me go back to it. Here's the week 7. Here's where I was yakking about double line, single line. Watch this video first, and then my video I'm doing right now, the one we're in, I'm doing now. We'll go here, but I want you to look at this. This is the first thing I want you to see. There's a file. It's a crude deal I just threw together, but I want you to look at it. This is essential all through your, this is the way to manipulate the formulas for percent grade, which is vertical divided by horizontal, and slope ratio, which is the invert, horizontal divided by vertical. So the reason these circles make it easy for us to take this formula, let's start with this formula, percent grade. If I have the vertical and I have the horizontal, that's easy. But what if I have the percent grade and I need to find and I have the vertical and I need to find the horizontal? Well, you got to move things across the equal sign, and there's algebraic rules that allow you to do that, but you have to change their function. Like if I wanted to move this value, whatever it is, over past the equal sign over here, it's a divisor. Over here, I would have to change it to a multiplier. This is a numerator, and this is a divisor, or vice versa. But I got to change the function when I move it over here. Now, dealing with percent grade, if I just go down here and look, like I said, if I know the percent grade and the vertical, what does this tell me to do? It says to divide the vertical by the percent grade. And remember, in percent, dealing with percent, you got to change it to a decimal to be able to use your calculator or just to multiply it. It's just easier. So percent grade, if it's 2%, you use 0.02 or 200ths as your percent grade. If your vertical is 10 and your percent grade is 0.02, what is your horizontal going to be? Well, it's easy because now I've done forgot. This is 0.2, this is 10, say vertical is 10, so it's going to be 10 divided by 0.02 equals 500 feet. Your horizontal is 500 feet. So what's 10 divided by 500? Let me see right quick. 0.02, 2%. So that's what these circles are for. Just draw your own, keep it by your side on your desk when you're working with this stuff. There'll be a little bit of need to do this perhaps in this module, but throughout grades, you'll be needing to do this on all of your little quizzes. They're going to give you all kinds of things. Like a pipe has a percent grade of 2%. It has a horizontal distance of 200 feet. What will the fall be? The rise or the fall will always be the vertical. So keep this handy. And now we're going to get back into the rest of the video. So this is called slope stakes and reference points. These are the formula, the little circles I just showed you. This is the first thing I would look at because it really does a good job of distinguishing the how to use the double line versus the single line in reference point to slope stakes. Information stakes are sometimes called. So here's where that video will go when I'm done. So here's the actual instructional material. Let's go through that, not too quickly, but a little bit quickly. It says, in the performance of your duties as a grade checker, it becomes necessary to mark the lath with more complex information than simple color field dimensions or simple slope ratios. It is your job to determine the correct information, then write it on the lath in a manner that is useful to construct a project. The next 12 pages, I'm not real sure how many pages it said in LMS, in Canvas, that's in the book it came from, will help you accomplish that. Figure 86 depicts a typical simple roadway and a labeling of the general information with respect to required slope stake information. So let's just look at the figure first. Here's your offset stake. Here's your top or your reference stake. This is where the actual slope meets the existing grade right here. So it has a slope ratio going down here, and I can't see what it is. Let me get my glasses. It may be insignificant because there's not much information on this thing. Oh, this is the abbreviation slope ratio. You're either going to be given the ratio or you're going to be given a cut of whatever it will take for that to be a 1.5 to 1 ratio. And they're coming down here to what we're calling a hinge point. This is where the desired grade just meets another desired grade. If you look real closely, you'll see a little ditch. It's a drainage ditch. Here is the road, and it looks like the center line is not in the center line, but notice that we're cutting through the side of a hill, and we want a lot of dirt on this side. The road has a minus 2% fall from this hinge point. See, this stake would be down here at the toe. This up here is going to be a cut, but this is going to be a fill of how far that is in this direction, even with the toe down here. Offset's going to tell you where to put the toe, and then all the information that's on the offset, which describes all of this, will be put on the toe stake, and then it becomes your reference. So in this case, it would be, the first thing on that toe stake would be fill such and such, whatever height they want, at 2 to 1. And then to get that horizontal distance, you would take this fill distance, which is vertical, multiply it times the ratio using your circles, and that would give you the horizontal distance. Moving on, the center line doesn't look like it's in the center. That's because it's not. This road is a little bit of a super elevated because it's going through the side of a mountain or a hill. So they want the water not to run off this side. They want the water to run all the way over here to the flow line of this ditch and basically go down the hill or up the hill with the road. So continuing on, if you go back here and you want to tell somebody how to get here to the hinge point, it's like I said, fill every how many feet at 2 to 1, and that would leave you this distance after you multiplied 2 times the slope ratio. That would tell you the horizontal. To get to this point from here, you would have to say fill this much, which would be a little bit less than this because, see, this is 2% going down. So this fill would be to right here a little bit different. And then you would have another fill going to the bottom of the ditch, and it would call it the flow line on your stake. And then there's a little jag right here that's called a hinge point. You would need another item on your reference stake that's a fill to this point. On the other side of the hinge point, you're going to have a reference stake. I'm sorry, an offset stake, which a reference point slope stake. That's going to tell you where to put the top down here. This one told you where the top, which floor. And then everything will come from here. In this case, it'll say cut ever how much at 2 to 1. And your 2 to 1s with your 1.5, the cut's going to be, if it is a 2 to 1 and it has a 1.5, if you know the vertical, you would take that 1.5, multiply it times this vertical, and it would give you this horizontal. So that's an essential profile of a cross section of a roadway going through. So these are the terms that are new to you probably. Hinge point is the point at the outer edge of the shoulder where the roadbed intersects the side slope, basically right here and basically right here. Those are called hinge points, or sometimes it's the shoulder. The shoulder is really a piece of gravel or something that meets the edge of the pavement somewhere along here. But this is a little bit offset on purpose to make sure that the water runs toward the mountain and into the ditch and down or up the deal. So let's go on. Single and double line slope stakes. Slope stakes are written in two distinct forms depending on personal preference. The two methods are known as single line and double line methods. There's a great difference in the two, and you need to learn how to read each method at a glance. Well, it won't be today probably, but so some of the characteristics of a single line method. All horizontal and vertical data are from the toe or top or reference. Remember, this is an offset reference point to slope stake. Your dimensions are going to come from here. In a minute, it's going to get a little bit confusing because I'm going to change it up on you a little bit. The characteristics of a double line method is each step is relative to the preceding step. The difference will become obvious when comparing the two methods from the examples in the following. In figure 87, where are you? Right there. In figure 87, the fill to the hinge point is 5 feet. How do I know? It tells me right now. Here is your toe stake or your slope stake, but this is where things are coming from. The offset stake has already told you where to put this, and then is this oh, here we go, cool. In this case, all of these stakes are not going to be single line right here, especially after this telling you everything. Once you're told where to set this, there will be a double line, and then everything after will be single line. So in this case, though, it says toe, fill 5 at 3 to 1. Filling 5, that's my vertical. My slope is 3 to 1. And so my vertical times my slope gives me my horizontal. So that's 15 feet. And we'll need that later on because we're going to have to measure from here all the way to these guys. And so we're going to need these horizontals to tell the operator how far we're going to go to this point. So let's move on. Fill 5 foot at 3 to 1 to the hinge point. Well, that's an easy one. Fill 5 foot to the hinge point at 3 to 1, which makes us horizontally 15 foot away from the reference or the toe stake. So we are 15 foot away from this toe stake, which is here. And we are 5 foot above this toe stake. Think of plotting graph paper and then connecting the dots. So with the double line, it would continue with another double line here because we are right here to the hinge point, and then we're going to fill 4, that's supposed to be 4, yeah, 4, that's 4/10. We're going to fill 4/10 at 20 feet. So let's see why it's 20 feet. If I'm here and I'm going to fill 4/10 of a foot, and that's a 2%, it's going up. So 0.02, go back to your percent, 0.02 times 4/10. What in the world is that? In other words, where did this 20 feet come from? Let's look and see. We have the hinge point pinpointed, and from that hinge point, we're going to fill 4/10 at 20 feet. It's just telling us that. But if we really wanted to know, we could take the 0.02, which is 2%, and let me do that right quick. 0.02, oh, my calculator's not on. 0.02 times 0.4, well, that's not what I wanted. I need to know where this 20 foot comes from, and nobody's, well, it's telling me. Where did it tell me? It's telling me right here. They don't care what it is. It's going to be 20 feet out to here. So that's 20 foot horizontal, and it's 4/10 vertical. So take the 4/10 using your circles that you have right there by your side, your trusty circles. Take the 0.4, the same, and multiply it times, is that what I want to do? Multiply it times, that's a plus 2%. 0.4 multiplied No, that's not what I want. I don't have a way to prove this is 2%. I don't have a way to prove that. And that doesn't seem right. But it's telling us that's what they want. It's, and then we're going to fill 0.4 at 20 feet right here. So that's that distance. That's the 20 feet. So that's going to put us 20, 15. That's going to put us 35 feet out from here. So now that we are here, which is a fill of 0.4 from the hinge point, 20 feet out here, we have to get this 2% in here. So 2% over 20 feet is going to be, let me calculate that. There's just no easy way to do this. So 20 feet, that's what they gave me. And they're also telling me that's 0.4. So that's a vertical right here, and it's 2%. So 0.02 times 20 0.4. There's where the 0.4 comes in. The 20 and the 2% give me that 0.4. So this becomes 5.4. So there's more needed on this stake. We just don't have it. The next thing that would happen, if we're not done, and I think we're pretty much done, is we could come from here to find this point, and on an and then cases it's not necessary, but it really is a fill of 5.4. I'm adding another deal to get us out here to this point. We would, the next thing would be fill this 5 and this 0.4 at 35 feet. So fill 5.4 at 35 feet would get us, oh, there it is, right there, to the center line, or to the next, to the center line. And they do it this way with the and then, but here, this is the single line. This is what we had to do. We had to start from here. They started from here with the and then, fill 0.4 at 20 feet, put them into the center line, but we're way back here with the single line, so we got to fill 5.4 at 35 feet, 15 and 20 at 35 to the center line. And that will put us at the same thing. So this is a real simple view or illustration of the difference between a double line and a single line. Again, all of these reference stakes now will be, there'll be one extra stake. We're starting at the reference stake when we're doing these things. This one would even have an and then if we were to go on with it. Let's look at this guy. This first off the bat looks like a cut situation because I'm looking at the top, and I'm going to do the single line. So the first thing I'm going to say, I'm going to look at this thing, and I'm going to say cut. Hold it. I can get rid of some of this me calculating. Let's see, I'm on exercise. I'm not in the exercises yet. We're still just going through the practice. But this one the stake would be cut I'm going to use a single line. First thing I want to do, and even without looking at the stake, I look at this and I know it's going to be a cut 10 feet. And I know it's at 1.5 to 1. So cut 10 feet times the ratio 1.5 to 1 gives us a horizontal distance. So there's one of our horizontals and there's one of our verticals. So we have the 1.5. If you take the 10 and divide it by 15, you'll get 1.5. 1. So over here, the next one, I did this first one, cut 10 at 25, or I could have said at 1.5, doesn't matter. And I would end it up at the same place. So I'm going to stay with this thing, and my reference is here. So my next thing is I got to get to this, let's call it another bench or hinge point. Benches make the water go away from us and toward us instead of just down the hill. They slow it down. So let's get here. This was a cut of 10 at 1.5 to 1, which gave us a horizontal of 15. So this, to get to here, this is level. The next one's going to be cut 10. See it right there? But it's going to be at, that's 10 foot, that's 15. It's going to be at 25, and that's going to put us there. So it's 2 cuts of 10 because we're staying level. This one and this keeps us level. This one takes us out to here, and this one takes us all the way out to here, 25. Now, we still got to go down another 6 foot. So far, we've cut. The next one is going to be a cut also, as you can see right here. But where's that 16 come from? It comes from this 10 we fell down. That's level. So it goes down another 6. So that's 16. So that's a cut of 16 and at 34. Now, where did 34 come from? Well, let's figure it up. Here's 15 of it, here's 25 of it, and here's 9 of it. So that's the 34. And that would put us down here. We got a little gizwiz coming up here that's going to throw a kink in it, but we're not there yet. But we'll get there. So the next thing we've got to do is we've got to come back up here. And all this thing is telling us to do is telling us that it's 3% over 10 feet, which is 2.3. So this right here is 2.3 higher than this. So what was this last cut? It was a cut of 10 and 6. So it was a cut of 16. And that would put us from here down, 16 would put us even with this guy, but where would it be? It would be 9 and 15 and 10. So that's 25 and 9. It's 34. There it is. Cut 16 at 34. That puts us right here. Next thing we got to do is get way out here. If we're at 34 here, we're going to be at 44 here. And that verifies that. But what's the cut to here? Here it's going to be a cut, but it's going to be higher than this. So this is going to be cut. What was this cut right here? 16 and at 34. So this cut needs to be 3/10 up. So it's going to be a cut of 15.7. And that brings us back up that 3%. So right now we're here, and that's at 44 feet. There's 10, there's 19, there's 29, 15, there's 34 feet. So that's your single line situation. Now, on the same exercise, the double line. Let's start at the top right here, and we're going to go down to this, they call this the bench, and it's a level bench. So it's a cut of, just like over here, pretty much, it's going to be a cut of 10, as it says so right there. And it's just telling us that 1.5 to 1 right here. So we can say that, but that also, if it's 10 and it's one of the vertical's 10 times the ratio of 1.5, gives us our horizontal. So we have that again. So the next one, we got to go here, and guess what it's going to be? It's going to be another cut of 10. Well, this is saying level 10. Where am I at? I've already done this. I'm jumping back and forth here. So right quick, cut 10 at 1.5 to 1 puts us right here. 15 out and 10 down. And then level 10. That's all that is. Just go out here 10 feet. And then we want to cut 6 feet right here at 1.5 to 1. So that's going to give us a horizontal of 9 feet. So that's another horizontal length we have. And then we got to go back up. Fill. This time we're filling that 3 feet, 3/10 from right here. And we're filling it at 10 feet up to here. So we've got filled 3/10 at 10 feet. So that brings us back up. And so we're back at the same place. We got all of these things was derived using different references. This one is like your next calculation will be based on this. And after you get this, this will go from here to this to be calculated. Now, the foregoing examples illustrate the two basic methods of writing and illustrated. There's a substantial different slope in a single line, double line. To ensure complete understanding of the two methods of writing slope, the following sample problem is presented. And that is figure 89. We're not doing anything different. We're just repeating this repetition. And it's given us the answer. You know, it's easy, but we're trying to verify that. Let's start on the hard one. Double lines are hard, but why are they more accurate? Because here we go from the same point. All of these measures are taken from this and out in this. This first measurement is taken from here over to here and up to here. The next measurement is taken from here to here. The next measurement is taking us up to here. And the next, so what happens if you make a little mistake on each one of these? You get way out here and you're way off. So the benefits of a single line is you have more accuracy. The benefits of a double line, it's way quicker and way easier to do. But let's start with the single line. And let's just think about this thing. If I'm at the toe, and I need to be here, what am I going to have to do? I'm going to have to fill 3.3 and at 2 to 1, and that's going to give me a horizontal of 6.6 feet. So I have to get from there to here. Now, this is going to be another fill of 3.3. See, because we're going to the same level, but we're going out further. So that's a fill of 3.3, and it's going to give me the horizontal rather than me calculate it, because we're changing slopes from 2 to 1 to level. So to get here, it's going to be a fill of 3 to 3 at 16.6 right there. And that'll put me right there. Next, I've got to get up here. I've got to get 12 more feet out. I've got to get, I believe that's an 8. At first, I was thinking it was a 5. Magnifying glass. It is an 8. So to get to this point, and I'm going to call that a little hinge point, because it's a change in the, the ups and downs versus the levels. So to get to here, I'm going to have to fill how much? 3.3 plus 8, right? So is that 11.3? According to this, it is. And how far out is that? That's a fill of 11.3 to get the right height, because that's 8 plus 6 plus 3.3. So how far out is it? 6.5. There is 10, so that's 16.6. And there's 12, so that's 28.6. And what does it say here? 28. Fill 11.3 at 16.6. And now it puts me here. Now I got to get to this place, which has a little 2% rise in it. So that 2% over 15 feet, I can do that in my head. 0.02 times 15 is 0.3. So I'm going to have to be a little bit higher than here. So how high was I here? I can go back and look at this. I was 11.3. So if I want to be here, I need to be 11.6. So I feel 11.6. And I forgot, but we can add again. Our horizontal is 6.6, 16.6, and then 28.6, and then 15 makes it 43.6 out to here. So that's the single line way to get to this point. These are just like extension lines to show that 3/10 there. So the 3/10 can be arrived at this 2% divided by 15. That's 3/10 right there. So that substantiates that. Let's see how much easier it is to do the double lines. So the same thing happens here to the bench. And then after we get to the bench, it's level, as it says, for 10 feet. And then from here, we want to fill 8 feet at 1.5 to 1. So that makes it 12 foot horizontal. That puts us up here. And then we want to, right here, then we want to fill 0.3 to get up to here. And that puts us at another 15 feet. So that would be, that doesn't, at 15 feet. So that would be another 15 feet added on to, what I added here, 11.3 got me to 40.6, 43.6. That's 11.3 and 43.6. So that other 15 feet just accounts for the 2%, 0.02 divided times, I'm sorry. This is the vertical, 0.3. This is the percentage. So I would take that percent, multiply it times the vertical, and I would get, it just gave us the 15 feet. There's no way to do that. And the 2% would just be 0.02 times 0.3, and that would be like 0.6 something. But that's not what we need. We got us to the same location using these two stakes here. This 0.3 creates the 2%, by the way. And I can prove that because it's percent grade would be the horizontal times the percent. 0.02 times 15 is 0.3 tenths of a foot. So that's extra. That's this one. And now here's some brief ones right here. Slope information is always provided on the offset stake rather than the toe stake. So all the information on the reference point stake is is changed over to the toe stake. So the toe stake won't get disturbed. I mean, the offset stake won't get disturbed. While no rule exists on far out, the offset should be set from the reference point. Information contains the amount of vertical and horizontal distance relative to the slope stake. Figure 90 illustrates how to mark an offset or reference point given the data as presented in the illustration. The first thing you're going to see in a reference point up to slope stake is where to start. So I'm looking at things here and I'm saying that this is the top right here. And this is the slope. So the reference point to slope stake is telling us in 10 feet to fill 1.2 in 10 feet. And that's where the top stake starts. And it could be written like this, and it could be written like this. That's all this is talking about right now. There's your 10 feet from here, and that's just telling us where to start. When we're looking at this one right here, it's got a little bit more of a chore to it. So the reference point to slope stake is 10 feet. Now, it's right here, the reference point to slope stake, and it's telling us where to set our top stake right here. We want it lower down 0.8 and we want it 10 feet away. That's what this is. Either going to be a circle or a little smiley thing under it, but that means 10 foot offset. So it's saying I want you to set my toe stake 10 foot away and 8/10 lower. So that's what that is. That's the difference, 8/10. That we're going out 10 and down 8/10. And then we're going to begin. So, and then I want you to cut 7 feet, okay? And that's going to take us down here to the toe of another situation where I can tell that we're going down. I mean, it's going down, but from here we're going up. But let's just follow it. If I cut 7 feet from right here, I'm going to be down here. I'm going to be right down here somewhere. And if it's 2 to 1, I'm going to be down there 14 feet because 2 times my vertical gives me my horizontal. So I'm going to be 7 down and I'm going to be 14 away from my reference stake or top stake. And then I'm going to fill. This is a 6, believe it or not. It is. Is it? Let's just see if it is. So if this is 12 feet, if this is minus 6%, that's 0.06. So somewhere in there, we should figure out the difference in this elevation where we know we're at and where we need to be. And that's going to be determined here. It's just telling us here, fill 6/10 at that 6/10 at 12 feet. But let's see what that is. 5% times 12 is 0.610. So we're going to be, you see them multiplying it out. They really need to do it 0.05 times 12. And then they would get 0.6 feet. So that would tell us that this center line, where we meet the center line, is 6/10 higher than this right here. So to make it 6/10 higher, we have to fill from here 6/10 to get to the center line. So you can see the and then stakes are much easier. Now there's some things coming up that are going to be a little rough if this is not rough enough. And I realize I'm going over it a little fast. The next thing is assignments, I think. Let's see. Now these are answers to assignments. That's not what I want. I don't know what I want. I want exercises. Let's see if I can find them. Not sure what we're doing here. Oh, I'm in the tailgate. That's not what I want to be. Help me, help me, help me. What's happening here? This is the tailgate. Here we go. This is where it's going to get tough. This is exercises. Now, you're going to have a really difficult time doing this. I can promise you. But I do want you to try. I want you to make me a stake for this exercise 1. And it can be the book says it wants a single line and a double line. But I'm going to let you get away with this double line or a single line or your preference. So what you want to do is get you a sheet of paper and draw you like 2 stakes. One's going to be single line and one's going to be a double line. I'm going to start off on this right here, and I want you to get your sheet of paper out. If you don't have it, get it. Pause the video and go get your sheet of paper. And I want you to draw 2 laths like we've been seeing. One's going to be used, give yourself plenty of room on it, because you're going to take a picture of those and send them to me. So the stake for, let's start with the hard one, for single line here on exercise 1 is, when I look at it, I'm going to decide real quick, is it a cut? Is it going to be a fill? It looks like it's going to be a cut because this is my 10-foot offset. My reference point to slope stake is over here. So I'm going to be going from right here. And I'm just going to start right here. Everything's going to come from right here. So my stake in the very first is going to have a 10 with a circle around it. And then it's going to have, the next thing it's going to have is a cut of 4 feet. And you can say at 12 feet, or you can say at 3 to 1, but this is what you need to keep up with, the 12 feet horizontal. Just make a note. If you decide to say cut 4 feet at 3 to 1, make your note right off to the side of your stake at that location, and we'll call this the toe, because that's, we're not going very much further, and just, you're at the toe part of the stake. So that's going to be a cut down to the toe of 4 foot at 12 feet or 3 to 1. So that's going to be cut 4 at 12 feet or cut 4 at 3 to 1. Just keep up with these lateral, these horizontal. Now there's no and thens. We got to get over here and look at this. These are all hints. That 0% tells me this is level. So what's my next cut going to be? It's going to be cut 4 feet, but it's going to be at 12, 17. So that next one's going to be at cut 4 at 27, I'm sorry. Cut 4 at 27 because we got to add this horizontal and this. So if I go 27 feet out and if I go 4 feet down, I'll be at my point. And that'll be the end of your stake. You're at the center line. Go over it once again. You have a stake at the top. You're going to put a 10 and you're going to draw a circle around it. And then you're going to start in on this thing. You're going to, from this point, you're going to say cut 4 at 12. That's the way I would do it because I got to keep up with my horizontals here. And 3 to 1 because the ratio 3 to 1, 12, the 3 to 1, this is a 3 to 1 ratio. 12 divided by 4 is 3 to 1. So I would just write it, cut 4 at 12. That lets you keep up. So now I got to get over here. And what's that cut? Same thing we did last time. Cut 4 at 27. You're done. You're at the center line. Let's do it with double lines. If we do it with a double line, now you should be writing these down on your stake. And you know, you're starting at the top, but the reference point is telling you to set your top stake, which is where your reference is going to be after you set that stake, because this one's going to stay out of here, out of harm's way. It's got all the good information on it. And then on this stake, the first thing you're going to have is you don't need the 10 foot anymore. You've already set it over here. Do you understand that? You're already 10 foot away. So the first thing that goes on this, you could label it at the top as top. And it doesn't have an offset. It is offset. So the top would be cut 4 feet at 12 feet. And that could be 2 hinge point if you want. No, and then after that, the next would be cut 4 feet at 27 feet. And you're done with that stake. Here is exercise 2. Double line would be, did I do that? Double line would be really simple. This would be cut 4 feet at 12 and then level at 15. That would be your stake. Top, then you would say cut 4 feet at 12 or 31, but this is where you keep up with your horizontal. And then level at 27. You're done with your double line. Exercise 3. Look at draw your little stake at the top of it. This is going to be, we'll do a single line on this guy. Let's think about it a minute. So it's telling us 20 feet. So the offset's already counted. The offset's back here. You're at your starting point at this stake right here. You're 8/10 below that stake, and it would go on that stake. You know, it would say 10, circle around it, cut 0.8 to toe. So you're already there. Now, or was I thinking of the last stake? Let's start over. Something fell over. I went to investigate. Exercise 2. Exercise 1. Did we do that? Yes. So exercise 2 is here. It looks pretty simple, but again, there's the reference point. We're to want 20 foot. That reference point would have a circle around a 20, and then it would say cut or whatever. It would say cut. There's your minus. Is that 0.8? Yes, it would say cut 0.8, and then, and that's when all the rest of it would happen. But it would all happen from here. And then from here, you're going to fill how much? 15.8. Let me get another. Yeah, you're going to fill 15.8 and at 2 to 1. So what's this horizontal going to be? If you're going to fill 2.8 at 15, you're going to fill 15.8 at 2 to 1. That calls for calculations. 15.8 times 2 equals, so your horizontal is going to be 31.6. Fill 15.8 at 31.6, and that will give you a 2 to 1 slope. So I would write that down because you need this 31.6 slope. You need that, or 31.2. What is it? 15.6 times 2. 31.2. 31.2, sorry. So you need to know that this is 31.2 and this is 15.6. So you got us to here with this first swath. You got us to here. Now there's no and then. The next thing you got to do is get us to here. Now this is calling for a minus 2% fall from here to here, and it's over 20 feet, so that's going to be 4/10, one way or the other. Let's see if I can do that. 0.02 times 20.4. So tell me now, if I want this to fall 0.4 feet, and that's what this is telling me to do, so this has got to be 4.4 of a foot higher than this. And this is 15.8. So I need to make this fill to be 16 feet at, what did we say that was? 31.2, I believe. Yes, 31.2. And then you've got that 4/10, and you got this 20 feet. So that's 31.2, and that's 20. So that's 51.2, but it's going to be a fill. I want this to be 4/10 lower than this 58. So it's going to be a fill of 15.2. Am I right? I'm calling that 6. It's so hard to read these things. This one is a 6. Sorry about that. That's 15.6. So we got the fill 15.6 at 2 to 1, and that makes that 31.2. That makes sense. 15.6. This has got to be 4/10. 15.2, 15.2. This has got to be 4/10 lower. This is really hard. This is going to be 15.6, honestly. And this is going to be 15.2 if this 2% falls in this direction. If it rises in this direction, it's going to be a little different. And this is up station, and it's a minus. That tells me that this is definitely going to be less than 15.6. Now, I'm so sure of myself on this. And we're on exercise 2. It's going to be 15.6 because they're not doing it the way I see it, but that's going to be 15.6 on your answers. So it's going to be 4 to 10. It's going to be 4/10 subtracted from that. So your final deal is going to be 15.2. So I'm looking at answers here. I would have said differently, but it's going to be 15.2. But I think you can see how we got it. Maybe when we do the double lines will be really simple on this because you're already here and you already got this first thing, fill 15.6 at either uh, 31 at 31.2. And then if this is going up, it's going to be fill 0.4. And I have some answers that are worked out ahead of time for this culprit, and it says fill 0.4. So from here and then fill 0.04. I know I'm going through this fast. I just want you to get an idea that it's difficult. It requires writing a lot of things down. It requires understanding where you got to cut it, fill. It requires a lot of things. This is the final exercise. I want you to try this. I'll be honest with you, in the past, I have not asked students to try this, but I'm going to give you a grade that you will appreciate. I just want to see if you can draw me some states that equate to these figures. If you just get lost, and if you can do a level line, you can't do a single line, that's okay. But let's go through this last one, and then we're going to shut the video down. And you can go to work. We got Thanksgiving coming up. There's a lot going on. This is a pretty heavy load here. If we need extended time after the Thanksgiving, I'll give it to you. So let's get this one out of the way. Let's do a single line first on this exercise 3. And we're going to start right. Where are we going to start? Here's the reference point, for goodness sakes. Let me see what I want to do here. That looks like a 6. It is. It's a cut 06 right there to go down at 10 feet. And that's where you're going to start, right here. So all this other stuff doesn't matter anymore. We're starting single line from this point. Now, what do we got to do now? We're going to have fill, right? We're going to have to fill up to here. So that's going to be a fill of what? Wait, I'm on the am I on the right exercise? Give me a second. No, 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 of course not. That's going to give me a fill of, I'm sorry. The first one's a cut of 6/10 right there. And then everything else, all this is out of the way now. This is going to be a fill from wherever this is of 10/2 right here to get to this I'm going to call this a hinge point or a bench, because a bench will go down like this is. This is going to be a bench, but we'll call it that. So on your, the first thing you do on your stake is put toe, and then it's going to be a fill of 10-2 at 2 to 1. Now, what in the world is 10-2 at 2 to 1? Well, it's 20.4. So you want to say fill 10-2 at 20.4. You can say 2 to 1, but you need that horizontal of 20.4, because that's 2 times 10.2. Now, the next thing, no indents, go from here to here. Look at this. This is going to be a little bit lower. How much lower is it going to be? Well, it's going to be 10 foot at 2%. It's going to be 10 foot, because it's going to be 2/10 lower. So to get to here, we said fill 10-2 to get here. So we said fill 10 to get to here, and that gives us that 2% fall over 10 feet. Don't forget your horizontal. Now, the next place we got to get is to basically the top, or the next project, or the next lot, or the next whatever is up here, starts here. Well, it starts here at the center line. So the next thing we've got to get up to here. We got to the flow line right here, because we took that 2/10 off. That put us right here at the flow line. So the water runs away from us and toward us, and not across the slope. So the next one is to get us up here. Well, that's going to be a fill, right? And it's going to be this was a fill of 10. This one's going to be a fill to, where am I? I'm getting lost. That's a fill to 10. And this is 10, 20.2, and 20.4. This one. This is all the way to here is 30.4. I'm calculating in my head. I'm adding these things, because you got to know this horizontal is 20.4, and this is 10 feet, because it tells us so, and that makes it 30.4 to there. So how do I get to here? To get to here, it was a fill of 10. To get to here, it's going to be a fill of 19.6, because that's that fill of 10, and then another fill, and it's going to be a fill of 19.6. And that's going to be at what horizontal? Well, it's going to be 20.4 for this little area we got by multiplying 2.1 times 10 point. It's going to be 20.4, and it's going to be 10, and that makes it 30.4 to here. And then we got this little weird deal here where we've got to go up 9.6. 9.6, and that is, so that is that will be 10, that will be 10, and then that will be 9.6. That'll be a fill of 19.6 to get us to right here. And you can do that if you're making this on your stake. You can add these things up. That'll be a fill of 19.6 right there. And it's going to be at how far is it? I'm calling that another hinge point. It's going to be 20.4, and this 10 makes it 30.4. And then this little guy right here, this 2 to 1 at 9.6, that makes that horizontal 19.6. And then when you add this to that, you're going to end up with 61.6. Is my first guess. That's right. You're going to end up at field 19.6 at, good Lord, I'm all over the place. You're going to fill 19.6 at, add this up again, this little area right here. I'm going to add it up on my calculator so we don't lose it. This little area right, this little distance right here, we calculated 10 to 2 at 2 to 1 to be wait, I messed up. To be 20.4, and then you add 10 to that. That makes it 30.4, and that brings us to here. We're at 30.4, and then this 2 times this vertical, 2 times 9.6. 2 times is 19.2. So that has to be added in there. And then added to that would be 12. So we do it one more time. Here we go. Going through it again. 20 to all the way to the end. 20.4 plus all the way to here is 34. 20.4 plus, I forgot to clear. Come on, clear. I think I'm doing it. So we're going to do it, start one more time. 20.4 plus this 10 plus this little guy here we calculated out to be 19.2 plus 12. And that equals 61.6. So your stake, to get you the last thing on your stake, is going to be fill 19.6 at 61.6. And that got you there. And you can go back and do it double line. I did that single line. Do them all double lines if you feel better doing that. Just add it. Do as much as you can. Put it on a piece of paper where I can read it. Draw a stake. Put your little marks on it. You can kind of see, excuse me, the format of these stakes by just kind of scrolling up and down, and you can, well, we'll get out of the exercises and let's go back to the modules. Just to give you an idea of what the stakes look like. Now this right here, where can I do it? Where can I do it? The computers, I'm wearing it out tonight. Wearing it out. See this, you can get the formats for the stake and kind of give you a little guideline. See, this is your single line, this is your double line, and this takes you to the same place as this does. And you can double check that and see for yourself. So I'm going to give you just a little bit of time, not right this minute. Take a break, go back to those exercises that we just looked at, and then I'll open up the answers so you can see how you did toward maybe Friday or something like that, or close to the end of the week. And like I say, you know, the assignment's going to ask you to, let's look at the assignment. That's a good idea. Make sure we have the right directions on it. Assignment cuts you a little slack, I think, and I kind of took a little bit away from you. Where am I? I went too far. Here we go. Here are those assignments. Here's exercise 1. This is what we just did. And you need to do these 3 exercises. It says to do it double line, single line, but not to worry, you know. And if you just can't get it, that's okay. I'm going to open up the answers to these things to show you what your stakes should look like. I drew my own up, mine a little bit crude. I saved a lot of calculating time so we get through this video. Not sure what to do. I don't know. I'll give you some thought. I want you to work on them. I want you to promise me that. It's so important that you can do this. My goodness, how did I get there? Because when you start understanding this, when you start reading those numbers and visualizing what this thing's supposed to look like, or look at that thing and figure out how to mark it so they can build it, you know, you're really on your way with this stuff. These are concepts, these are principles, these are real abstract. Uh, it's just uh, it's just some difficulty back on the week 4 assignment. You guys did a whole lot better than I thought you did. I did a lot of looking at that, and I changed your grades to something more to what you did. You did a lot. I looked at it too quickly. I made assumptions, and I went back and really dug into it. And some of you even showed all your work, which I really appreciate, which helps you on me grading it. So we're in week 7, Scotty. Thank you. So again, this is what I would look at first. This little silly thing, formulas for slope and percent grades, because as you recall, we went over a lot of the slope thing. This is the 2 circles I showed you. I hope you wrote that down. If you didn't, click on that and draw your own. This is where I want you to start because it's a real good, it's a little lengthy, but it's a really good illustration of the difference between double line and single line. And it's a really good illustration of these are road survey stakes that we're mostly looking at right now. So just good to look at that. This is the video that I'm doing just right now that I'm getting ready to end. Work on it, work hard on it. I want you to really try hard to build a stake. If you can get one stake done or a partial stake done, don't quit because you're running out of time. Take the time to get the dadgum thing done. But I'm not going to be hard on you if you just can't get it done. So I want you working on it though. So that's it for tonight, tonight, my time. Pause the thing, think about it. Give me a call. Like if you're really working on these things and you just like on exercise 3, you say, I think I got this, but I'm not sure this is, that kind of stuff. Give me a phone call. We can talk about it. Until then, later on, we won't do much until after Thanksgiving. Of course, you'll be busy with this up into Thanksgiving, but like I say, I'll extend time. I'll be available on the phone all the time. Later, guys. And do have a good Thanksgiving if we don't really get to talk again.